Hello, we're back. We're going to give it a go. I'm at green at the minute, and my drop frames is going down. Sorry, the reason why we went, the drop frames have got up to about like 50%, which is ridiculously high. That's like the bad old days. But we're back into the 20s now, which is nowhere near ideal, but might be okay. So anyway,
Luke, can you roll a router check for me with with corrals?
Is it just a 1d6?
Oh, not
a 1d6! But I don't know what's good. It's about as good as I am with routers, to be honest. I could spill wine over it if that might help. The licking is definitely quite carousy. Drunken licking.
I have a feeling the wine would evaporate before it hit it.
It really would, wouldn't it?
It's hot.
Okay, that's as good as it's going to get, guys. That's as good as it's going to get. I'll hand it back to the nerd corner, I guess. Oh, we're back from break. Tradition means we toast, even if we're confused. Sorry.
Oh, yes, of course. Sorry, in the middle of all that, I completely forgot to do the thing with the thing.
Yeah, that's the most important bit, the thing with the thing. And I've got to get rid of the edges, which is me letting everyone down as well. There we go. Okay.
And I've been cheerfully, raising a glass without being told, and now I've got to do it properly.
Is it the most important glass raise of the evening? On that note, Ewan. Everyone, it's Ewan. Give him a round of applause. Ewan.
Thanks. I can hear it. Thanks, guys. Hello and welcome. Welcome back. Welcome to the new video if you're watching a VOD. To the most important part of the Boys from the Baltic Star stream, the toast to our beloved barman, Greyhill Bast. I did have something planned for tonight, but what with the internet issues that Luke's had, I'm not going to ask him to do anything else or add anything extra into the mix. But the good news is, anyone who remembers from my last toasts the Greyhill Bast screenplays, the cease and desist has finally, the Baltic Star legal team has finally broken through, and we're into production of the next one. So that will be with us shortly, but not this week. Fittingly, however, this week, I think it's fittingly anyway, based on the game that we're playing tomorrow. The old Greyhill Bast notebook that I'd got some of his screenplays from also has the odd notes in the liners of a bit of poetry, which is poetry ? The same way that this is a toast ? I suppose. But I will read you some poetry from Greyhill Bast's book. Poorly, because I'm no poet or bard. Yet her smell it doth linger, painting pictures in my mind. Her eyes, balls of honey, angels' hearts her laugh. O luck, grant us to be cute. The name it hath spake, Clarissa its charges, from twixt its wee beak. I don't know what to make of that. It's Greyhill Bast. He's a lovely man. To the late great Greyhill Bast.
Greyhill Bast.
Greyhill Bast. Great barman, lousy poet.
Lousy poet.
Oh, frabjous joy, yes.
His poetry's bloody awful. If you get the reference from any of that, you win points.
I'm sure points available of some sort.
Thanks for the to Greyhill.
Yes, indeed. Okay. So, where we were, you were literally just assembling your way into various rooms. You have 12 rooms, 4 sections, each of 3 rooms.
Wait. 3 sections with 4 rooms, or 4 sections with 3
rooms? 4 sections, each with 3 rooms.
Oh, that changes everything. That changes everything. Oh no. We've done it wrong, man. It's still no corner. Who's getting a reprieve from no corner there?
Each one ends in a trio of rooms.
Yeah.
Back to the drawing board.
Zoe's getting booted out. Zoe's protective, but she can be booted out.
Okay, so we got Cara,
Rose and Cat.
Rose and Cat.
Yeah.
That sounds.
That's more That's more a party room, to be honest. Zoe's all right, but she doesn't party quite so late. That's party. That's definitely party corner. Then you've got nerd corner.
So Cara, Rose, and Cat in one of the groups.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to do Zoe, Sammy, and Johnny? Keep them together.
Oh yeah.
And together at the same time. Just move.
Zoe, Sammy, and Johnny.
Someone from.
So Freya, Rick, Gerg. We don't want Agnar. He's King Nerd.
Well, he wants the choir. Okay, well.
We'll take. You know what? Rick is the least nerdy. He likes buckyball, and so Raya would quite happy for it.
That's a good shout. This is the most note taking I've done in like 6 months.
it's a little.
Which room?
It's a throwaway 5 minutes that Ben was like, they'll put the bags down, then we'll do something. So nope, this is important.
Cool.
So Agnar, Gerg, and Freya is nerd corner, which it absolutely is. Stefan, Saraya, and Rick are the jocks. Cara, Rose, and Cat is the party corner. And then, what are you feeling about Zoe, Sammy, and Johnny? What sort of vibe do they give off?
I don't know. They're kind of. They're that you wouldn't expect to be a bit of a party corner, but every now and then they'll surprise you, I think.
So they're the wild card.
Yeah, I think they on the surface they appear quite, cool and collective, but after a couple of mimosas and the fourth brunch, that'd be it.
It's always the fourth brunch that gets you, I tell you. It's the one that tips you over the edge. I like it. Strong team. Okay, there we go. Party corner, nerd corner, the jocks, and the wild card corner.
Okay. This sounds all good to me. So you're in the process of sorting this all out. When you see the lift begin to move again, this is not that uncommon. It's moved once or twice, but this time you're paying a bit more attention because you've put your bags away and you've moved things into the right place. It's coming up, and as it arrives, the doors open and out steps Marcus, who you remember from the fact that he's the guy who hired you. He organised this trip.
Marcus von Cotswolds.
Out and he walks over and he says, I see you made it all right. This is very good news.
We did, thank you. Stefan will say.
We're about ready to start moving people in. So if there's anything you feel you need to do for protection purposes, then now might be the time to begin, just in case. If you need to check out the other rooms, or if you need to station guards up on the concourse, now might be the time to think about that. And he's sort of in the process of sort of suggesting that now might be the time for you to start going to work. When the lift comes back down again, the doors open and Olivia Sharp steps out.
Cara Goes to run up to her. Ah! Olivia Sharp walks out, yes.
Runs up and gets the guns out.
It's Olivia Sharp's
Powerful.
entrance music. Powerful entrance. Cara runs up to her to try and throw her arms up rather majestically around her shoulders in a slightly over the top hug. You came.
Nice to see you too.
You came. How are you doing? How are things?
I work here. This is. I feel like this is a stupid question, but why are you here?
So we have this big ship, right? It's called the Baltic Star, and we took this cruise, to get. We were guests of this rich old Aslan man, and so because Sarai likes the buckyball, and we talked business and science and so on, and we always needed a way back to our ship. So this was the easiest way back to our beloved ship, which is orbiting Geeka. Up the geeks.
I mean, thank you. That's not really what I was asking.
That's why we're here. We're going back to our ship. We're going back home.
I mean, why here instead of, on the other side of the ship? Or the other side of a completely different ship that I have nothing to do with?
What's wrong with this side of the ship? It's interesting. It's very different to when we were last here. We're in a very different place. It's cool.
Yes. Well, okay. She looks across at Marcus Cotswolds and she says, you invited them? And he says, hired them, in fact. You know each other, I'd heard. And she nods and says, yes, we're acquainted. We are acquainted. I just wanted to remind you that I'm here. This time she's talking very much to Marcus. In case you need anything, and to ask that you keep as low a profile as is practicable while on board the ship. Obviously, that's not an instruction, but I'm hoping you can find a way to do that. And I'm going to go to my office now, where hopefully at some point someone will call me or visit me to explain more details about all this. And she sort of glares across at Cara and steps back into the lift.
Cara's going to jump into the lift with her and turn around and say to everyone, I'm just going to grab us some bottles of drinks for our shift. You don't mind if I share the lift?
Shout out. Bring brunch.
Bring brunch. Oh, well, you don't mind me joining you, do you, Olivia, in the lifts? It's too long to wait for another one.
It's fine.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I guess on the way back, Cara sort of tones down her fake over the topness, as lovely as Olivia is, no doubt. She says, you know this guy.
Not personally. I'm just surprised. I say I'm surprised. I'm not remotely surprised. I wish I was surprised to find you and him together.
We're not together. No. I think you're the right. No. It's not my type at all.
Yeah.
I'm kidding with you. I know what you mean. I saw that look in your face. We didn't even try to hide it.
On this trip, when I sat down and I thought, what's going to cause me trouble? I thought, Marcus van Cotswolds, he's going to cause me a load of trouble. And you guys are on the trip, and hopefully this time you'll be quiet and out of my way. And now it turns out you're sort of in it together.
Um, in it together's an awkward way of putting it, I guess. We needed tickets back. Some of our posse went to the Travellers Aid Society, and this guy got us tickets just to keep an eye on some door for the trip, I guess. We have no intention of causing any trouble. We want to be incredibly bored for a week, quite frankly. No idea what's behind that door. No idea who's behind that door. We don't want to cause you any trouble. And hopefully we can all do our 8-hour shifts, watch a bit of buckyball, get a few brunches and have a nice sleep.
But I mean, you did your due diligence, obviously. You found out who these people are and the potential threats they're facing.
No. That would ruin the surprise. Who are these people? He never offered the information, I guess, and very shady types, you know. He is anyway, he seems. Should we be concerned? Are our lives in more danger than normal?
As far as I'm aware, there's no immediate danger to your lives. There are people who are just generally disliked in this part of the galaxy. It doesn't matter whether it's fair or not. It doesn't matter whether they did anything to deserve it. I have my own thoughts about that, but it's beside the point. The group traveling together are people who are frightening or alarming or concerning to some individuals. And when I say some individuals, I mean many, many millions of individuals. And if they're traveling as a group in particular, especially on a pilgrimage like this one, they're going to attract a certain amount of attention. And I'm kind of hoping they'll stay very much in their rooms, out of the way, and as few people will learn they're even here as possible.
They're not Millwall fans, are they?
Sorry?
They're not Millwall fans, are they?
No.
You said a pilgrimage. I'm not gardeners. Even that's the worst of all. I'm changing my mind. I'm not guarding gardeners.
In a specific sense, they are arguably gardeners, but not in the literal sense, I think.
Oh. They're different kind of garden.
You know, we sell tickets to anyone who wants to travel and wants to enjoy a game. You understand that. We don't place restrictions on what people do unless they are causing trouble.
Cara leans in closely, and she says, "Whoa, they're not. This isn't the. There's this name that I learnt literally the night before we came out. It's not the Geeka Diaspora, is it?
Yes.
Oh, bollocks.
Some people perceive them as kind of a cult.
Yeah, I perceive them as some kind of a cult.
And
Sorry,
people
I thought
get
you said a cult then.
Yakult.
People get upset, you know. And hopefully this little group of them, because I don't think there are that many, they all fit in one section after all, hopefully they'll just keep themselves to themselves and nobody will even know they're here, if you see what I mean.
They don't walk around like... They're not easy to spot, are they? Do they dress differently or act differently or...
No. And by nature it is unusual for them to draw attention to themselves when they're on their own. But I don't know what they do when they're in a group, you understand.
No, I've got no, and I know none of us have got any specific love for them. purely out of, we're doing it purely for enough money to get back, If you want us to keep an eye on things and keep you informed, I know we trust you more than we trust Marcus. If that would help put your mind at rest, we'd be more than willing for someone to check in with you quietly every day or whatever, give you some updates.
If you could just arrange it so they keep a low profile. When they leave the rooms, they do so in ones and twos, and I just don't want them to draw too much attention to themselves, because if they do, there'll be anger and resentment, and that leads to trouble. Do you understand?
Of course.
I don't want them to get hurt. I don't want anybody else to get hurt. I don't want them to feel like they're under imprisonment or something on the ship, but at the same time, I'm very keen on them not drawing attention that would lead to problems. So if you can keep them to just play it very, very cool and quiet,
we always play it cool,
you will
and
have
quiet.
my gratitude.
We always play it cool and quiet. You know that. You've got nothing to fear with us.
Right, Luke, can you roll 1d6 for me, please?
No!
You're going to make him.
This is not Traveller. 1d6. And then roll another one. And then add them together.
I like to think at that point we could quickly cut back to Stefan and Soraya, and Stefan's just saying, so I figure if we really want to make these people think like we're doing a good job, we should get a big thank you put up on the buckyboard sign, thanking them personally for our voyage. Maybe the odd conga line through the ship, and
so I said,
make a big show of it.
Oh, you mean we could get them all up? We could all get them to pay for a night in the royal box. Yeah,
and we could treat them. We know security here, right? We know Sharp. We could get it to put something up on the board for us. Just the seamstress welcomes whoever it is that we may be guarding.
Oh, that's a really nice.
It's a good service for security. We might get further business out of it.
I think that is good. Service with pizzazz, we can call it.
Mm.
Yeah, I like it.
Exactly.
No, that's a good call. As it cuts back, I guess, to Clara just looking into the corner of the room. The dice is confused yet again. You're ruining my dice.
Consistent.
You're ruining the balance of my dice, Ben, and I don't appreciate it.
Okay. No, it was just a 50-50 as to when something happens. Okay. That's all it was. I just needed you to roll a 50-50.
Okay.
It is as Sharp finishes her conversation that you hear something at a distance. There's the beating of a couple of drums in rhythm. And it gets slowly louder, and you can see in the direction it seems to be coming from, there's a bit of a disturbance in the crowd. Not problematic, it's just people are sort of parting and making way. And it slowly becomes apparent that what's coming towards you is a procession. A group of people dressed pretty normally, but if you see them as a group, you'd realise there's a kind of common theme of that they're wearing sort of tunics and very straight cut, rough cut sort of cotton trousers or linen trousers. Individually, if you saw them in a crowd, you wouldn't spot it, but because they're all kind of wearing the same thing, it does stand out a bit. And there are two of them beating small hand drums with tiny little short drumsticks. And as they march forward, behind them, there is what can only really be described as a very substantial sedan chair.
Oh, God.
Being carried by half a dozen people at the front, where the majority of the weight seems to fall, and another couple at the back. The chair has a person sitting in it. A young man dressed similarly to the others, looking around with a beatific smile as he's carried through the concourse. People are backing away, and some are looking curious, some more angry, and some look quite disgusted as this procession slowly makes its way forward until the party literally reaches directly in front of the lift, where the sedan chair is carefully lowered, and the young man stands up, walks into the lift, and without even a look towards you, presses the button to descend. The rest of his entourage standing around, enthusiastically beating drums and packing up the sedan chair. It folds into a considerably smaller space, so it could actually fit into the lift when needed. As this is going on, Olivia leans over to Cara and says, "Good job."
Cara leans really close, really, really close to Olivia's ear, just so that she can just barely hear it. It says, "Oh, we're gonna die." And then she turns to the other guy and says, "Hey, how you doing?"
Which one of the entourage?
The main guy. Are we in with the big chick? Oh, he went down, didn't he?
He stepped into the lift. So
Yeah,
you're out on the concourse.
Yeah. To the first guy, to the nearest guy that isn't looking too busy with the sedan chair, I guess.
Okay.
Maybe one of the tambourine players or something.
Beating a drum, but is standing around.
Yeah.
Yes, you. He looks across and he nods, and says, "It is a special day."
It is. Have you ever heard of something called brunch?
No.
Well, I'll tell you what, right? It's a special thing that is perfect for a special day. It's a glorious feast taken at many points during special days. If you guys head down to your rooms, myself and my colleagues will prepare for you this wondrous thing we call brunch to celebrate this special day.
Well, that sounds perfect.
Fantastic. Cara sort of gets on her device to who would I go for? Stefan. And messages Stefan and says, as the lift's coming back up, can you jump on it, please? And bring Zoe with you.
Stefan messages back straight away and says, "On it or in it?"
Whichever you prefer.
Thumbs up emoji, or the equivalent of the sci-fi equivalent of, and he'll head over to Zoe. Just say, "Hey Zoe, Cara wants something. Are you right to come with us?"
Sure.
Thanks.
Why not? Good news, no doubt.
Yeah, well, I mean, she probably just wants a hand with her luggage, or something to do with checking in, I guess.
Understood. So bring a pistol is what you're saying.
I'd recommend that anyway. But
so yeah, she secretes a pistol on her person and steps into the lift with you. Up at the top, there are a few passing random people gathering around and peering down into the lift shaft and looking around them to see if there's anything weird going on. The chap you were just talking to seems to conspicuously fail to understand what they're doing and cheerfully tells people that I'm sorry that the Pope isn't seeing anyone today.
The Pope. Excellent. I'm going to nickname him Angie, so he can be Angie Pope. Okay.
Stefan pushes the button obviously to the lift, I guess, to get the doors to open as it's going down.
You're only still getting in it. Kara's feeling really, really awkward right now. She's saying, "Is Olivia hanging around?" I guess it's quite a security issue. Right now.
Just hanging around where?
With Kara, they went up together, didn't they? They were
Oh, there is a. It's not like there's a sort of tight-fitting mob, but there are a fair few people loitering. And the group who are gathering things up, again, nobody's pushing or shoving or overtly angry, but people are clearly staring and not in a friendly way.
Okay. Kara quietly says to Olivia, as the lift is sort of on its way, says, I guess you've got security secreted about the place right now.
Sharper glances, not inadvertently, but subtly, towards someone at the far end of the open space directly in front of you, as if to check for herself that the person she put there is in place, and then glances across at you and says, "My entire security team would comfortably fit in that lift." Well, I mean, if you put them through a blender first, I guess. But the point is, I don't have a lot of people. I'm hoping for a quiet week.
Well, the second this lift goes up, I'm going to chuck... There's about 10 of them left, isn't there? But there's the chair as well, I guess. So, as soon as this lift comes up, I'm going to chuck as many in there as possible. And I'm hoping this is going to be the last nonsense. It looks like the Pope looks like the kind of guy that's going to do what the hell he wants to do. But we'll see what we can do. Alright. Well, because this happening again, I don't think it's going to end quite so nicely a second time.
She says, I mean, we could always have some maintenance problems with the lift.
Oh, it feels like the thing you could do for a day. Do you know what I mean? Issues. Maybe a day, maybe a couple of days in or something. If I get in touch with you, if we need that sort of thing, or I can sort of get them out during quieter times of the day, or I don't know. Between us, I'm sure we can work things out. They're no doubt going to want to come out, but if we can sort of take the edge off things, for sure. Let's get them all down. Let's get them all settled. I'm going to get them food to eat down there today as a special feast. And hopefully you won't hear from them again until at least tomorrow. And hopefully not all of them at once.
Yeah. One or two at a time would probably be better.
Okay.
And, fewer noisy processions and people on thrones would probably be ideal.
Okay, that sounds fair to me. Sounds reasonable.
All right. Well, you know where I am. I'll do my best to help.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So I'm guessing at that point the lift is probably about due to open to deposit our
It
friends.
is, yeah. Yeah. So you now have Zoe and Stefan.
Zoe, Cara sort of looks at Zoe first and sort of shrugs at her a little bit, and sort of I guess nods at her to sort of move aside somewhat. Like a helpless shrug, like ugh, look at, what's going on. And then turns to Stefan and pulls him, ushers him forward. Stefan, come forward. I've got some people I want you to meet.
Oh, hey, yeah, I know Sharp.
No, not her. No, don't worry, no, Sharp. These are our new friends. And then she sort of gets the first guy's attention again and says, "This man here is the head of the feast. It's his official title, given to him by the bailiff of Brunch. He's the Lord of the Feast, and he's going to lead you all down to your area, and with a few of our crew, is going to prepare the area for your blessed welcome feast.
My blessed welcome feast.
But yeah, you can get. It's your role surely as Lord of the Feast to be there to lead the toasts to lead the songs.
That's more of a new wave. Lord of the Feast role is to actually be there, but it's fine. I'll show up, I suppose. That's what makes people comfortable.
These are new wave kind of guys. I've been bigging you up. Don't embarrass me in front of our new friends, Stefan.
He gets out his communicator while this conversation is going on, and just messages Kara WTF ? Puts it away. Yeah, no, of course. I'll be there.
She feels the vibrating, knows it's from him, and just utterly ignores the fact that it's vibrated in her pocket. And then she turns to the man again and says, "I feel that maybe all of you, or all but one or two of you, can go down immediately in this lift with our friend, if you would. Stefan, would you lead them down to their level?"
Yeah, of course. Zoe, would you accompany me? And Kara, I assume you'll arrange for the brunch to be brought down.
Yeah, I'd rather Zoe stayed with me, but grab someone at our floor if you need him.
I don't need them, but
maybe grab like 4 people from our floor if you need them. Just grab anyone you can grab from our floor who's employed for this. Oh, I bet I'm jealous of you now.
Sure. I'll get someone. And he'll press the button 1. And turn to the other people on the lift and say, you don't mind if I just call someone else in, do you? It'll be a brief stop. And assuming that's all right, he'll push the button. Let's try to stop at the first floor.
All right. So you're leaving Zoe on top.
With Kara, please, yeah.
With Kara. And you're heading back down. You find as you go back down, you're sharing the lift with a group of of your new employers, who glance across and nod sagely to you, but don't say anything.
Stefan will nod back awkwardly, and that not making eye contact, but just staring around the room.
Yeah,
the lift.
Yes, I'm British and I have used lifts.
Yeah, exactly. And when we get to the first floor, he'll look out the door and he'll just see the first person he sees, and he'll shout for them, having more than enough awkward silent time spent in the lift.
It looks like the first person he sees is Johnny.
Johnny.
Yeah.
Beckon him over. Have you got a minute? We're on the clock, I'll say.
Absolutely. What do you need?
Well, for starters, getting in the lift would be good.
Can do.
It's okay, don't worry. Just come with me. We're just going to see these people down to their rooms and check out the lower levels, make sure everything's all okay.
All right. The lift heads down to the bottom level, where everyone gets out, and they seem to be sort of milling around in a group in the sort of circular space around the lift. They're not going into any of the rooms at this point. They're just milling around and nodding to each other and occasionally sort of hugging and shaking hands as if they're very happy to be here.
Stefan will take Johnny over to one side, sort of out of earshot of anyone.
Still in the lift or into the round room?
Into the round room.
Okay.
and he'll say, "Look, I'm in the same boat as you, right? Kara called me into the lift. I have no idea what we're doing. I think these are the people that we're meant to be looking after. I don't know who they are. She mentioned something about a feast and being lord of the. Listen, there's going to be brunch brought down, I think, but I'm pretty sure we're on the clock. These are the people we're looking after."
At that point, you'll get a message from Kara saying, "Who did you get to help you?"
And he'll message back saying, "Oh, Johnny, obviously."
That's a good choice. He's now the bailiff of brunch. Prepare them for the great feast. Get their hopes up.
He's kind of speechless, I think, at this point, and he'll just show Johnny the message. Congratulations, I guess, Johnny.
That mean I get to seize brunch?
All the brunch.
That's implied, I think, heavily implied. It certainly means at least we're going to have brunch, I guess. Do you want to call everyone's attention, or shall I get them all seated? We're in like a communal. Are we in the communal area?
This area is essentially the same as all of the other levels. So there are 3 levels. They're basically identical, one on top of the other. This one is just very slightly different in that in this circular room there is a hatch in the floor, which is for emergency exit only, and marked as such. The layout's basically the same. There are 4 routes off. One of those routes, from where you're standing, has been not necessarily decorated exactly, but it looks as if like a garland of flowers has been hung over the corridor that leads into that little 3-room suite. The one next to it, to the right, there are people bustling in and out of that quite a lot, and you can see them pulling beds and bedding out of those 3 rooms and moving them sort of out and leaning them against walls and things like that out of the way for the time being. And the other 2, there's no particular activity that you can notice that's special going on there. There are people occasionally popping in and out of the lift, going up and going down, but nothing major going on. So if you gather people together, you'll get immediately in the area a significant proportion of the people who are bumbling about.
Okay, perfect. Stefan will look at Johnny and he'll just say, "Look, I'll tell you what, I'll do it. It's fine." And then he'll proclaim in his most official voice, "Hear ye, hear ye. Gather round. The feast will begin shortly. I, the Lord of Brunch, and my colleague, the Bailiff of Brunch, Bailiff, wasn't it? Okay. The Bailiff of Brunch here are about to preside over the initial brunch of this journey. As soon as the bringer of brunch, our colleague, has brought the brunch, we shall brunch." Thank you.
A lot of people looking quite confused at this.
There's a lot of brunches in that sentence. More than we eat in a day normally.
There's a lot of bees.
A lot of bees.
Johnny, just, push them in, walk behind people and just usher them towards the centre. Just gather round. Food will be provided shortly for the ceremony.
They certainly look up at the word ceremony. It clearly interests them, and as you look around, you can see they are pulling furniture out of the 2 communal areas that weren't seemingly being used for all that much, and moving them into the area where they'd taken the beds out of. They're completely rearranging the layout of the whole space.
Stefan whispers over to Johnny, if they're going to be sleeping in those beds out in the corridor, it's going to make security a bit more difficult, I think. But we'll work with it. It's fine. Just be on the lookout for anybody who doesn't look like they're meant to be here, I guess. Are they all wearing a similar linen?
Yeah, variations on a theme. They're not the same colour or not exactly the same cut, but they're all very simple, straight, rough cut trousers and tunics in plain and, for the most part, very sort of earthy colours.
Okay. Yeah, he'll point to the last message he showed Johnny on his phone and say, remember, we may be dealing with this, but we're on the clock. Just keep a lookout for anyone who doesn't look like they should be here.
Stefan nods and says, there is one person I'm very confident shouldn't be here, and it's me.
I'd make that two. And I suppose they will. Stefan will do his best to, sort of give I suppose the toastmaster at a wedding. He'll give off that sort of vibe whilst waiting for someone to bring brunch.
Okay.
Probably the best he could do in that sort of situation. And that's probably pushing it.
And with them waiting for that information, I'll just do a quick check. Can you roll a streetwise check for me, please, Stefan, with intellect?
I haven't even got any warmed up dice.
Oh no.
That's not bad though. That's 9 plus 2. That's 11.
Okay. All right. Looking around the space at the people coming and going, it's pretty clear to you that if there was anyone who was up to no good as far as this group is concerned, anyone who shouldn't be here, it would be damn near impossible for them to blend in. Everyone literally seems to know each other and know each other well. Everyone is greeting each other with warm smiles, claps on the back, pats on the shoulder. They're doing so even more than they should. As you stand there for just a couple of minutes, it's clear that people are actively hugging and patting people on the shoulder, even if they did the same thing with the same person 3 minutes ago when they passed them the last time.
Okay, but not like overly, I really hate you, but I'm going to greet you in such a friendly manner kind of way.
Oh, just, you're getting nothing but a sense of peace and love.
Very exuberant. Okay, cool.
You need to set yourself up for 60 seconds of a minute of wisdom, by the way.
Who's doing a minute of wisdom?
Stefan,
and what's it on?
The nature and goodness of brunch as a social art form.
Well,
I had to turn it on.
Let's not get too specific with the with the minutes of wisdom, but sure.
And then you've got to nick something at some point. I guess we'll go. You probably need the next thing to come along. So I'm happy to jump to Cara and Zoe at this point to actually bring along the feast, rather than just you for 20 times going, "It's okay, it's coming. It's okay, it's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming. It's nearly here."
Exactly. Stefan will do the best he's got, but there's only so much that people will want to sit and listen to me going on. Hold on, let me.
The nature and goodness of brunch as a social art form. It's deep, this one. It's very deep. It's kind of what we're all about, really.
We're good to go whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I'm good to go.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, your 60 seconds starts now.
This is very much a two-parted topic, I feel, for me. I mean, what is a social art form? We could speak for days about what a social art form is. I I feel as though it's just the act of something being used socially. Let's go with that. So I'm going to talk about the nature and goodness of brunch, which I think everybody here can agree is both natural and good. Brunch is, by their nature, involve mimosas. It generally falls somewhere between breakfast and lunch, although in certain circles the scope can widen and you can have sort of a fourth or a fifth brunch, if you will. The goodness of brunch speaks for itself. Citrus fruits, champagne, croissants, cheesy balls.
We're just listing things.
What's not good about all
And
of
that's
those things?
time up.
Oh, boo.
I mean, if you want to argue that any of that listed stuff was not good and was not involved in is not involved in the goodness of brunch, then be my guest, Luke. But...
Oh, I've never been more disappointed in you.
That's a lie.
Oh, I'm never disappointed in you. Except now. Bravo, though.
Perfect, Ewan. Thank you.
Well done, you.
So yeah, Stefan will kill time, I guess, until Bunch comes in and try and keep everybody. He'll, get them all to organise some the social aspect of eating a good brunch, a natural and good brunch.
Yes, I think you covered everything from mimosa to cheesy balls.
What do you mean?
Chuckling to herself up on the surface, Cara then turns to Zoe and says, "You might not know it right now, but you'll thank me that you didn't go down in that lift right then."
Okay.
Thank
you, I guess.
So these are our employers, and these are cultists who just paraded their way through the concourse with a sedan chair with someone they call the Pope sat on it, and everyone hates them.
So that's why they need security detail.
Yes.
Because A, everyone hates them.
Yep.
B, they're not good at being subtle.
No, worse than us.
Huh.
I know, that's saying something.
And just going out on a limb here, but C, they're not all that bright.
I'm not that experienced with cultists, but it always seems to me that they can suddenly be very bright when it comes to very specific things, but the rest of the time they very much aren't.
I'm going on the basis of the last time sedan chairs were cutting edge technology and actually a viable method of transport was never.
It was when Agnar was a boy.
Yeah.
I
mean, this is pre-wheel technology we're talking about, right?
It is, and they seem to love it. But then you couldn't get a motorised buggy up and down here, I guess. So they've sorted that out. Olivia Sharp don't like them. She don't want them out and about, and you can see why. Look at the expressions of these guys still hanging around that haven't gone back to their drinking yet. We've just got to keep an eye on them. Ones and twos up to the surface at most. Olivia will make a mechanical problem which can shut the lift off maybe for a day or something. We've just got to keep them away from people best we can. Not a group like this. Ones and twos maybe. It's going to be hard work. Between at least 3 of us on at a time, I'm guessing, maybe even more. And it's going to be herding cats,
Fair enough.
Uh,
She turns and looks at the sort of last dregs of them, who are slowly sort of gathering up the components of the folded up sedan chair, and motions for them to get into the lift. And they're sort of saying, "Yeah, in a minute." And she rolls her eyes and turns back to Kara and says, "What's the acceptable attrition rate for this job?"
If I had my way, it'd be about 40%, but I believe they're supposed to all survive. Which, yes, they're more at risk from us, let's put it that way, than they are from some of these people right now. I guess I hate to ask you to use your juju and stuff, but there's gonna be times this Pope guy especially gives me the heebie-jeebies, you know. And it's just nice to know that you might be able to catch a whiff of things, I suppose. Like last night, I found something in my pocket, and I don't know, Providence or I don't know what, I don't know what it was, but I found these like data chips, and it was literally talking about these guys, and it runs deep. They are a literal cult. They are not liked, and there's a reason for it. If you need the terminology, Zoe, if you just bear in mind, the outsiders know them as the Geek of Diaspora, but they all know each other as the Faith. So if you hear it talking around, if you want to ingratiate yourself, I don't know, we probably can't use that terminology to them, but just be aware of that kind of thing. If you hear it talking as well, you're the one that's most on it out of all of us, so I just want you to be taking the lead in that kind of thing, I suppose.
She watches the last of them head into the lift and press the button to go down, and then she turns back to Kara and she says, I'm not having that much difficulty understanding why people don't like them. I haven't met them yet, and I don't like them. I don't even know who they are, and I don't like them. That's weird, isn't it, right?
They give off the vibe, right? They do give off that vibe, instantly dislikable. It just might be the bad fashion sense. It's really irking me. Those colours just don't work together, and those fabrics are just horrific. A bit of pleather, a bit of red pleather is what they need. That would sort them out no end.
I mean, leaving aside, obviously, some degree of professional ethics that we took a job to keep them alive, they haven't done anything that isn't just embarrassing, right?
Well, tonight I'm going to be going through the data chips. You're welcome to come and sit up with me for like an hour or two as I churn through these chips, and we can find out a bit more information about them and what they're up to. Like, I hammered through them really quickly last night, but we can actually focus on the history of it, I guess, and their activity, beliefs, that sort of thing.
Let's see if Sharp can join us.
That's not a bad idea. Sort of get a heads up with it.
She's former military intel, you never know.
Sounds good to me. But for now, as much as we hate these guys, how do you feel about winding Stefan up a little bit?
I feel quite good about that. Does
Right.
that make me a bad person?
No, it just makes you one of us. It makes you normal. We got to get some
Excellent.
Let's get some brunch. Let's go and get some ridiculous brunch for their feast downstairs. And what I really want to keep an eye out for some ridiculous floral crowns that the Lord of the Feast and the Bailiff of Brunch have to wear. Come on, let's get some supplies.
Sure. Okay. One of the things you are noticing in a number of the shops around this area, you're in the sort of Hackett supporters bit. Now, the Hackett colours appear to be very heavily based on a large black and white checker. So think reminiscent of the middle of a BMW badge. The caps are therefore divided into four, with black and white segments opposite each other. The T-shirts are divided into black and white squares, if you like, but big ones that cover, one entire shoulder and all the way down to the midriff, and then white the other side. It's these are very bold black and white marks. It's not like they've checkered them like a chessboard. It's always within the practical limitations of what they put them on: hats, T-shirts, everything. They are very much cut to the 4 quarters design, not multiple checkering.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Though you will see some variation on that theme inevitably. So there's a lot of that if you're looking for decoration in this part of the ship. A lot of black and white checkering, which doesn't really look like what they wear or the colours they go for, to be honest.
No, this is good though. I thought, Zoe, if you can go around these shops and try and find some interesting, entertaining headwear and things like that, some novelty bits and pieces, I'll grab some. I don't know what they're. I'm going to go vegan just to be safe. If in doubt, go vegan. They look like they might. So, and then we'll meet back at the lift in 20 minutes.
Good.
Cool.
Yeah. She splinters off and wanders off.
Cara's going to head to the closest convenience brunchery. If that's okay, please. That's
okay.
the more cafe sort of place we went when we prepared our picnic, as opposed to the was it the Cross? Not it was the Cross Keys, wasn't it? Not one of or whatever it's called. Not one of those places. The more brunchery places.
All right. There are a number of such things. Many of them are what you might call chains within the ship, and possibly within other liners in the class. There are multiple instances of the same thing.
Yeah.
But some of the more expensive things are a bit more unique as experiences go. But a lot of what's available is pretty generic, and if you walk a few 100 yards in any direction, you'll find another one, if you see what I mean.
Cara's going to make a beeline then for the closest one that doesn't look too busy. The one that sort of you can order. The one that looks more like sandwiches and platters as opposed to roast dinners or whatever.
Yeah, there's no trouble doing that kind of thing. There are bar cafe places with deliberately built in little gaps in the seating grid, so that you can sit and look up through into the pitch. And in these areas with their little low fences around them that demark their seating area, there are people bustling about and a counter in the middle, and they do indeed do everything from takeaway snack foods and picnic type foods, because some people will buy their food there and then go up into the seating, of course, to watch the game more intently.
So Cara will sort of check at where she is, like in the seat numbers and that above her, and she'll quickly drop a message back to Rose and say, I might need a hand carrying some stuff back, can you join me here? And send it off over to her, and then goes into the place. Excuse me, my good sir. I just need to order a brunchly plethora, if that's okay. We're looking at rolls, sandwiches, some fruits if you've got them, some nibbles, some balls that are kind of cheesy, if you have any of those. Some bits and pieces, maybe some fruit juices. Nothing alcoholic. It hurts me to say it, but a nice mix, a really fresh, nice mix, like a little celebratory picnic, I guess, for about 14 people, if that's okay.
Okay. Yeah, we can. I mean, it's a fairly large order. It'll take a little while to put together, but sure, no problem.
That's okay. I mean, I'm in a rush as such, but I don't mind sitting here and waiting while you do it. So please do.
Okay. They the Tim there and an assistant Tim um,
Tim.
set about assembling your food order and a selection of fresh drinks. Um, the drinks essentially are in the form of sealed pitcher type bottles with a stack of cups, just stacked alongside. There's a selection of fruit juices and things of that nature, which are largely going to be reconstituted from concentrate live when they hit the plunger on the dispenser, if you see what I mean.
Well,
But they look palatable enough, and there's a variety of them. As for the main food, yes, it's a mixture of sandwiches and rolls and little salad bites um, and crunchy things of various types. If you've ever been to a tapas restaurant, you'll know what we're dealing with, or for that matter, probably dim sum. I would suggest it's that kind of food.
oh, my favourite sort of food, quite frankly. Cara sat there enjoying the smell, and it's been nice because we've spent a week, of course, on a planet where we've had to have an oxygen mask over our face any time we've wandered out. And she's just been enjoying walking down the corridor with it off and just breathing in all the smells.
Yeah.
How much do I owe you, my good Tim? My good Tim.
For 40 people,
14?
food and drink.
14? 40? Oh no.
14.
Yeah. Oh, I misspoke. 14.
14 people.
Oh no. Don't put it back though. We're hungry.
For 14 people,
No, I got much.
it'll be about 175.
Oh, that's not so bad. 480. Okay. Yep, a bargain at half the price. I'm looking forward to it. And she hands over the money. Did Rose get the message? Is she going to join her?
Yes, she's on her way.
Ah, fantastic. Cara waits for the food to be done. And I guess her plan is that as Rose appears, she will sort of hand her over some of the platters or the baskets. And they'll head back to the lift together to meet with Zoe to head down, the three of them together, is the plan.
Okay. All right. Zoe has had a modicum of success taking the cue from the sort of colours that they seem to be wearing. She appears to have gone a bit craft-like. She's visited a shop that sells League memorabilia and has the complete range of all of the regional League teams' merchandise, not just the two teams that are obviously prominently displayed in this particular trip. And by hunting around the racks, she's found some sort of banner type things that were in the right kinds of colours, greens, browns, yellows, that sort of thing. And she appears to have very thoroughly attacked them with her knife, sliced them, and then tied them into a sort of vague, garlandy, ribbony type thing. It's not elegant, but the thought is there.
Zoe, that is perfect. It's the perfect garland. That's amazing. You're showing new sides to yourself that I never knew existed.
It's not what I'm usually asked to do.
To me, it feels like the sort of thing that if you just spent 1 week thinking about back on the Baltic Star, you could get to grips with it very quickly. Anyway, let's head it down because I feel like the Lord of the Feast needs his brunch bringers.
She grabs hold of some of the provisions, and you march to the lift together.
And we're going to carrying our plethora. I wish we had a horn of plenty to put it in, quite frankly, but carrying our plethora, we'd like to head down to the bottom floor, please.
Okay. You head down to the bottom level. The doors open. The place is essentially, as I described it before, it's a bit chaotic. There's a lot of furniture being moved around, beds being carried one way, chairs the other. But it's beginning to form into some kind of sense of what's going on. It appears that essentially the space with the 3 rooms with the garland over the door, over the passage into that space, appears to be configured for the Pope. That seems to be where they have set him up. There are now few people coming and going, and they seem to have pulled all of the furniture out of there in the communal area to just leave one large space. In the space next to that, they've basically transported all of the chairs and sort of coffee table type things in there, and they appear to have stripped the rooms of their beds and bedside tables and things of that nature. So they've essentially propped the doors open to the 3 rooms there and turned the whole place into one large seating and table area for everything from dining to just chatting and mingling. All of the bedding supplies that they therefore removed have been piled into the other 2 areas, where it seems they've included beds now in the what were the communal areas, if you like, as well as the bedrooms. And if their movement of things is any judge, it appears that they're planning to sleep multiple people in each room, and at least 1 or 2 in each of the communal spaces as well, of those 2 suite areas.
This is very visual. As sort of the door opens and they take it in, Cara will side mouth to Rose. So the cleaners are going to hate this. And then she sort of marches forward and announces to everyone. I know they're hustling and bustling, but she's like, "The bringers of the celebratory brunch have arrived. Please, where should we place the feast?"
There's a slight look of sort of confusion and disorientation, and then people think, sure, it's food. And they direct you towards this area that is now configured basically for sitting. As you go through there, you can indeed see that all 3 of the bedrooms, plus the communal space, are quite well filled with chairs and tables, and the number seems surprising. It implies they probably stripped the floor above as well of their chairs and tables. The ones that were in the rooms, the ones that were in the communal areas, all seem to have now found their way down here, and it's quite densely packed with them.
Cara says to Rose and Zoe, just start unloading it in this sort of central area first. I'll get the lords of the feast to get things started properly.
Sure.
And she goes over to Stefan. How's it going, Stefan? How are they? What's it like down here?
I've been killing like 20 minutes, half an hour while you're going for a brunch. There's only so much talking on what we doing.
We're they must be hungry, and my theory is to go full on culture versus culture to celebrate the madness. We're going Heart of Darkness Apocalypse Now, Purple Haze kind of vibe, man.
Are you telling me we're making up more about our brunch culture?
Yeah, we're going
as we speak.
We're going
You
big.
and me.
You and
right
me.
Here.
Anything goes right now, man. And
that is what will happen from now on.
But it depends. What I say will happen from now on. I don't trust you too much. You've always been you're the sort of guy that only goes to brunch at Easter and Christmas. Do you know what I mean?
Look, I just like to take my brunches responsibly, which I think should be a fundamental cornerstone the Church of Brunch or whatever it is we're forming. Yeah.
Oh, is it the Church of Brunch now?
Well,
You're
That's not
letting it
the
go to your head. Your position is going to your head. You'll upset the Pope if you start going religious about it. I'm
That's
going
true.
more for an earthy, midsummer kind of vibe as opposed to religious. Don't upset the Pope. He seems like an important guy.
so we just what we do? Are we distracting these people? Are you just having a?
I want to.
You're just winding me up.
No.
That's what's going
No. This is vital. What you're doing the holy brunch work. You're doing important stuff here, because we need to keep. We can feed their madness, but we need to keep them down here as much of this week as possible. And if that
Who are
means I found as the food's being delivered, and I'm seeing us a bit further back in the corridor, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It says, so you remember it last night, right? I found these chips in my pocket, this little box, and there are these chips, and it's like, I don't know what. It's freaked me out since, because it talked about this cult, and it's literally these guys. There's no reason why this would end up in my pocket. And this cult's called like the Geeker Diaspora, or the Faith, but we can't call them the Faith because we're not part of them, right? But the don't tell Sarai because it's geeks. You should probably join them, so we'll keep it quiet from her.
Yeah.
I know, yeah, good. But yeah, they're like some crazy cult, and I'm trying to find out a bit more tonight about them with Zoe, and hopefully with Olivia, maybe, hopefully, if she will. But all I know for now is people hate them, and they're potentially wacko, and we've just got to keep them away.
Why do people hate them?
That's what I want to find out tonight. But Olivia said that people hate them, and I don't know if you saw many faces when you popped up in the lift, but there is a lot of hatred, dislike, fear in some ways.
I didn't. I'll be honest. I wasn't really aware that we were working until we were on the way down, and I was declared the Lord of Brunch.
That's your new title now. You wanted leadership responsibilities.
Oh, it's very true. Very true.
I just thinking that if they're hungry, let's make a big thing about tonight for feasting. Then there's no reason for them to come up again before tomorrow.
I think it's a great idea. Listen, if people hate them and we don't know why people hate them, and we don't know what the deal is, then why not just keep them separated for as long as we can until we find out more information?
Yeah,
makes sense.
Exactly, and hopefully we'll know a bit more by tomorrow, and we can. Yeah, Olivia said like 1s and 2s up at most if possible, and depending on our shift patterns, I know. Depending on our shift
around
patterns,
at the multitude of people,
all hugging and
pulling furniture out of rooms.
They're like a cross between Minions and Boyles from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, yeah. So
not Boyles.
Boyles, not Boyles. And the aliens from Galaxy Quest I'm seeing as well.
Nice.
So I know it's a bit ridiculous, but embrace it. Embrace the madness. And we'll regroup tonight when the first shift goes on the lifts, and we'll actually sit down and actually touch base. You know what I mean? Because it's all a bit mad at the minute. And then she, as she sort of finishes that, she makes her voice louder and she drags poor old Johnny forwards as well. As the sort of food's being put out, and she says, "Are they all men, by the way, Ben, or is it men and?"
No, it's roughly 50-50 split.
My dear friends, let me introduce to you, and then she whispers in Stefan's ear, remember, go along with this. And then she displays from the first time the glorious headgear that Zoe has wonderfully created for him. The Lord of Brunch, who will lead you through the toasting, the celebrating and the feasting this evening on this glorious and wonderful first night here on the Seamstress. And she sort of puts the garland upon his head and sort of...
Stefan takes a knee just before she puts it on his head. almost over the toply. Not almost, definitely over the toply.
We are but your humble servants. Please, Lord of Brunch, show them our hospitality. And Kara backs away back to sort of the main room by the lift. Not going up, but backs away.
Stefan will pause a few moments, an awkward few moments of silence, and bow his head before he'll murmur a few words, but of nothing of any importance whatsoever, just to be seen to be murmuring a few words, and then he will stand up and stretch out his arms, and he will say, "Partakers of the first daily brunch upon our journey, travellers on the express train of cheesy balls and mimosas. Let us first give thanks to both the bringer of brunch and more importantly the bailiff of brunch." And he'll gesture over to Johnny.
Poor Johnny.
And then as he finishes that, he'll bring up his arms and he'll say in almost a chanting way to try and get people to chant along. You know, that kind of when you're trying to encourage people to copy what you're saying. He'll say, "May brunch be with them forever." And then pause for a moment.
And the slightly confused crowd sort of frown slightly and then nod encouragingly.
Okay, it's not normally how these things go, but that's fine. I wish to formally invite all of you to partake in the celebration of this the first brunch of our travels, alongside with us of the faith of brunch. And he'll pick up a cheesy ball, hold it up to the sky, look up at it, and pause for another awkward moment. And then eat it and sort of gesture to them all to dig in. Just the best I've got.
Johnny jumps in with some enthusiasm and says, "Yes, let's eat," and picks something up and eats it, and you see, a couple of them come over and try something and have a taste, and after a couple of moments, others come along and they start to relax a little bit, having now got out the end of the ceremony, if you know what I mean, and they smile and nod, and it's clear they think you people are some kind of weird cult, but you brought food, so it's all okay.
Stefan will mill around and he'll just go up to random people and he'll touch them on the forehead and just say, may brunch be with you always, child. And then move on to the next person and do the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting it. I mean, they're saying thank you and everything. They don't exactly buy into your cult. They've got their own, but they're friendly enough about it. Put it that way.
Kara will approach Johnny during a moment of quiet. Says, part of your role as the bailiff of brunch is to take brunch from Stefan for the evening. It's cause to prove that it's a holy thing that none of us are truly worthy of, and we can't take for granted. There's no taking the brunch for granted, Johnny. So whenever Stefan tries to eat something, you need to bailiff it off him.
Understood.
Good man. Pat him on the back.
I'll do my very best. And he wanders over to basically shadow Stefan, and literally every time Stefan tries to reach out and grab something, Johnny just steals it straight out of his hand. And kind of the first time, Stefan's probably thinking, "All right, fair enough," but it's not long before he twigs that that this is a bit of a setup. That leaves Kara on her own momentarily. You see Zoe beckoning you over to the far side, away from the sort of seating area where everyone's mainly gathered now.
Kara sort of takes one last loving look at the joy that's happening in front of her eyes, and then wanders over to Zoe. Hey, what's up?
There's something you need to know. It's important.
Okay.
I can't tell you here and now. But you need to know it very, very soon.
Lift now?
Yeah. I mean, let's do it.
Yep. Kara calls a lift down and they jump in. Well, and jump in, I'm guessing it's not too much up and down. It's monks they're feeding, but let's go.
All right. Zoe punches the button for the concourse level. And when you reach the concourse, she nods to you and starts striding away purposefully across the concourse.
Kara scurries to catch up.
Zoe doesn't say anything until you are hundreds of meters away from the lift. And then she sort of beckons you quietly into a little corner by one of the gift shops, but not by its entrance. So there are displays here, but no people around. And she glances around carefully, and then she says, "We have a really big problem." And that's where we're going to call it for tonight.
I don't know what the really big problem is. How dare you? You've ruined, you've taken my dreams.
I thought you were going to drop the problem and then call it.
Oh, this is even worse. This is worse.
This is like, Ben knows that
I can't plan for the problem.
So he's adjusted.
Oh, we can't spend the week planning. I can't sit on the toilet sending you messages planning the problem.
Exactly.
That's the thing. You need to know there's something you don't know, but if I told you what it was, you'd start working the angles, and I want it to be more spontaneous than that. Sorry.
That's fair.
No, it isn't fair, but I think it's it's a different approach.
Every now and then you've got to have one of those, definitely. And ladies and gentlemen, can we just take a minute to appreciate Ben here for a second, who, many other GMs would have hung up the call.
Oh my goodness,
about half an hour ago for putting up with our nonsense. So thank you, Ben. It is much appreciated.
I think your nonsense is like much of the fun. You do know that.
When I see you laughing in the background, I know we're not going too far wrong.
Oh God, no. No, I mean, we have our own style. It's not the same as anybody else's, but it's what we do.
It's just a shame we had stream issues earlier on that definitely hampered us. But it was enjoyable. Once we got that sorted, I really enjoyed after that. So thank you. Yeah,
and thank you everybody for suffering with us and for sticking around and hopefully enjoying the story, because it's fun to have a slight change of venue and change of pace. So hopefully it'll be good.
Oh, we got Rose's cat.
We've got Rose's cat.
Oh, we have a Rose's cat. Okay.
I can tell by the hat.
The hat. I was gonna say, did you see the thing or did you see the hat?
I saw the hat.
Saw that.
I saw the whole of the hats.
All right. Chapter 36.
Oh my goodness.
Meanwhile, on the Baltic Star, the main airlock cycled as engineer Kron Sarama walked inside. He was wearing a vac suit because the rules said he must. It was theoretically possible that the full system test might have left the ship without enough oxygen, or with a smidgen too much cyanide. The checks he'd done on the outside of the airlock before entering had told him that the atmosphere was fine, but still, rules were rules. Inside, he walked through the ship, brightly lit and so very familiar. He made his way to engineering and started running a few checks for safety. As he worked, he idly wondered how Rachel Axis was coping with the awesome responsibility of taking care of Rose's cat, Caboodle. Axis, in fact, was arranging quarters off the ship for herself. Just off the concourse, there was a perfectly comfortable, if basic, hotel. It generally served the needs of contractors working on ships and the crews while the ships were going through any work that might make them uninhabitable for a short while. In this case, the Baltic Star wasn't uninhabitable. Well, not exactly. But Axis was definitely not going to be aboard for the next day or two. That's why she had a deputy, after all. Unfortunately, this meant she was left to care for the cat. And right as Sarama was idly thinking about Caboodle, Axis and the check-in clerk were staring at the tiny creature. "So you need a room for you and this cat," said Axis. "Right," said the clerk. "I don't think we can cope with, still a cat," said Axis.
Yeah.
"I mean, it could be dangerous or cause problems for the other guests." The two of them examined the animal, small, furry, and currently asleep in a bag. After a second, the clerk looked up. "We could store it in the safe." Axis took a deep breath before responding. "No, it doesn't go in the safe. It goes in my room, with me, where it will mostly sleep, and occasionally wake me up in the middle of the night to complain about something. Something that will be so urgent that I have to be fully alert and ready to deal with whatever it might be. Then, at that exact moment where I'm at my most alert, all thoughts of sleep banished, it will decide to go to sleep again. It will take me an hour before I finally get back to sleep myself, which is almost exactly the amount of time before it wakes up with something else on its mind, something that will require my immediate attention. None of these emergencies will I ever get to the bottom of." The clerk frowned. "Why does it do this?" "Because, stay with me, it's a cat." Wordlessly, the clerk slid a keycard across the desk.
Very good. Bit worried about what they're doing to our ship, Ewan.
Yeah, I know. It's the not knowing that gets you. I feel
like if I'm glad, like, we invited Kron and we invited Rachel to come with us. I'm glad they said no now. Quite honestly,
we get to find out a little bit about what's going on.
the cat would have been nabbed
As you and Luke.
by some Aslan. Yeah, no goodness knows what to the ship. Oh. Well, I'm glad. Thank you. Ben. We get a little bit
Well,
of joy.
thank you, everybody. I assume it was Sparrow who redeemed Rose's cat. Thank you, Sparrow.
Yeah,
I hope you
good
enjoyed
man.
it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And
That was great fun. Thanks, everyone.
that was, I needed a bit of silliness tonight, guys, and you came through for me. Thank you so much.
Felt like that kind of week, didn't it? To be fair.
Especially after the stress of the first 40 minutes, which is just really stressful for me, so thank you. It's nice to be back on Seamstress. Nice to have a cult. We haven't had many cults yet.
And it's always nice to have a Friday. Baltic Star Friday is a lovely thing for me. A real treat, always.
And we're winging our way back towards the Baltic Star. The Baltic Star proper.
Every day we're close.
We are now heading towards the Baltic Star rather than away from it or not moving relative to it.
Yeah, Fid, Spez, you guys have never been on the Baltic Star.
It's crazy to
You
think.
just heard about it in stories and
Yeah.
tales.
I hope Ben has an amazing description lined up. I'm sure he does. But for all those people that
Well, I need to have a proper one because it's changed a little bit since last you saw it. Not a lot,
that's
but a little bit.
that's true. That's very true. In fact, Luke and I haven't been on the Baltic Star since the changes have happened.
And last time I was on
absolutely
there, I
right.
just spent a week learning about mechanics. So it's not like I got to spend much time hanging out in it anyway.
Exactly, and there is a kitten there as well, Sparrow. You are right.
Yes. Yes, they did briefly bump into Caboodle, I think, before setting off, but it was a very brief sort of handover. There was no time really spent on the ship, was there?
No, literally just. Are you coming with us? No. You coming with us? Yes. You coming with us? No. You coming with us? Yes. Goodbye, Richard.
Yeah.
And that was kind of it, wasn't it? So, although
See you later on. Right?
actually, I say that, but Spares and Fids have been there when we have been on the Baltic Star because of the Tales from the Baltic Star.
Very true.
Which
Starts
segues rather
in the bar.
nicely. Potentially.
Potentially, yeah. Actually, we do need, yes. You had messaged me yesterday saying we should talk about people joining us for the Baltic Star, but there's been about 700 political messages in our Discord that day, and it might have been lost in... What did you say? There's like no point...
Yeah, I was like, I won't bring it up today because it'll get lost.
Get lost.
Completely lost amongst all the politicking.
Next week we have got the next Tales from the Baltic Star. It's next week, isn't it?
Yes, next
16.
weekend.
It's a Cara story, so ask Kels if she wants to join us because I know she's a big Cara mark. I'm taking 2 more people for it, so that'll be the 4. I know how it's going to take place, what's going to happen, but if you want to be in the Tales from the Baltic Star with Cara, then let it know. Well, you're going to post something in the players needed thing, aren't you?
Yeah, I will do. I'll get on that tomorrow. Someone remind me, but I'll get on that tomorrow.
Cool. And for the rest of the weekend, tomorrow we are doing the second and possibly even concluding part of Clarissa the Vampire Slayer. Because we can.
Because, Ben, I love the system, and I think being able to make up your own spells on the spot and adjust the difficulty for them depending on what they do is a brilliant idea.
Yeah, I think it's quite clever. And I love the fact that your initiative order isn't arbitrary. It's decided based on how much you want to get done and how long it will take. So
Yes.
the longer what you want to do in a combat round would take, the further down in the initiative order you are. It's a clever system, I think.
Yeah, and the setting in general is pretty cool.
It is good fun. If only it didn't use D10s, it would be perfect.
Well, you got to have one minor thing somewhere.
It is
In
the
any game.
flaws that reveal the perfection, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
And then on Sunday night, hopefully we've got a spooky Sunday, which is heavy rain. That's
Yes.
right, isn't it, Luke?
If I'm going to be utterly honest with you, it's 90% going to be a spooky Monday. And I'll tell you this for why. It's because our cricket's in Eastry, which is totally the other side of the county. It's our furthest trip. And it starts a bit earlier, but if it goes full, by the time I do that and get back and the team has a drink, not that I'm going to get hammered or anything, but we do that, it's going to be 11 o'clock anyway. And so I'm going to be sunburned, I'm going to be tired. So I'd rather offer us a better entertainment on Monday, if that makes sense.
Plus, I think we all love spooky Mondays.
It's a treat.
Yeah,
isn't
I
it?
think spooky Mondays are great.
Spooky Mondays are a
It's
bit of a
forced
treat.
alliteration, which is much better than natural alliteration.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think to be fair, it's probably more sensible to just make the decision now and say we will have a spooky Monday instead of a spooky Sunday.
Then I feel more chill on a Sunday because I'm captain in it as well. So there's going to be that pressure about that kind of thing. So
It's all good.
we go Terror Monday for Terror Monday.
Mirror Monday, yes.
I think we're only. I did look. I believe Heavy Rain at most has about 50 chapters in it. we've got fewer now because poor old Spark is dead, bless him. But I think we're up to about we're up to like late 30s or 40s, so we might only be a couple of sessions away from the end, to be honest. I think old Ethan's only got one more trial. I think there's one more bit of.
He said that after the next one he'll get the information he needs, didn't he?
So we're drawing in close. So we're getting to the end of February, and then I need to think about a new Terror game for my Terror Mondays.
That's gone quick.
No,
it feels quick, that one.
No more of that sort of game. They really stress me out. I love them. Detroit especially, I thought. I love them.
Detroit was wonderful.
I love them, but they're just stressful, and it's like one little mistake and like you ruin a character. I can't be dealing with that. So I'm going to look for a much more standard horror game, probably, maybe.
I think you have to accept that for many of those, they're supposed to have replay value. You're supposed to make a couple of mistakes and then play them through again. So you just have to basically do what Ewan and I do with the Fighting Fantasy books and accept you're going to fail.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to play it through multiple times. So you're going to fail. Just live in that moment and enjoy the collapse.
But Detroit is literally set up for that, so I can go back to it. I think I've still got it installed. I can go back to the bit on the tanker on Jericho. I could save Kara. I could actually run away with those three, and then I actually there's a chapter of them actually trying to get across to Canada, which I missed out. So I could actually play again and get them across. And the whole point is that you get all the different endings. So I watched on YouTube. Some of the endings, spoiler alert, cover your ears. There's literal chapters, dozens of chapters where the gameplay is totally different to our playthrough, with like nuclear bombs, dirty bombs. Connor and what's his name falling out. Connor kills the cop, chucks him off the edge of a building. Like honestly, like everything, it can get incredibly dark and bleak in it. Kara, if you don't you know that first house where she's getting reprogrammed, if you let her get reprogrammed, her story can finish there, and she just becomes like a servant slave in that guy's house. So everything can, like, we actually got a pretty good run through considering, frankly, compared to the bleakness. So
that sounds very much like a Fighting Fantasy book, as Ben was saying.
Yeah. That camp at the end was very dark.
Yes, the darkest I think we've gone.
That was an uncomfortable watch.
Yeah, I think so. That was really horrible. I have heard of it, Spez. Is it a PC one? Because if I get the camera sorted out, I'm happy to play a PC game. So I'll just sit here and put my face in a corner. Because I did do that Cloudpunk for a while when I was getting used to the channel. It wasn't moody though, but it was a bit of a strange one. Yeah, I'd look at that. I always say I'm going to look at a game, then I never do it though. I've done that so many times. Add it to my list of maybes. I've got to do that walking sim. I said I was going to force Death Stranding on people for 2 episodes. just for the bands.
Yeah. And
I've got Deus Ex. That's up there. That's going to be a good one. I've got God of War. That's supposed to be very good. That's all. I think that's Greek mythology. I think. So you fight against the Greek gods and things like that. That's interesting. So there's lots of options. I'll make a decision and then I'll pick something terrible like normal. Fids, I will. I don't think is it a spooky? It's not really a spooky Sunday game though. Would you say that's? Shall I play God of War when I finish Road 96? I might follow up Road 96 with God of War. That's what I'll do. There we go.
If it's a sort of I don't know, action game, then it sounds like a Thursday one rather than a Sunday one, if you know what I mean.
Yes, it's a bit hack and slash like Hellblade, but without the mental anguish of it. Oh no, then Fitz has to go. It has to be a Spooky Monday because Fitz wants to watch it, and it has to be. Just sell me on what makes it spooky. Give me one thing that makes it spooky, and it becomes something.
Is it in fact spooky? If it's spooky,
if it's a bit spooky, we can do it.
Yeah.
It just needs a scintilla of spookiness. Anyway, I'm looking forward to the the vampire tomorrow. I'm out. Having an evening without putting the kids to bed. The two of us going out for a bit, and then I'll be back to watch you guys. It's just I wanted to relax for the evening, and then I can relax and join you guys and watch you. It's win-win.
And it turns out we are joined by some adult supervision for tomorrow night. So we will have the glorious socks with us.
Glorious socks, extra stripy. I'm really hot.
You wait. I'm going to do some crossover canon and start Lord of Brunching it up in ancient Rome, like it's an actual thing. Travelled on to the sci-fi future.
Honestly, Lord of Brunch.
Oh,
Lord of Brunch is my new favourite. Is my favourite version of you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight or watching us on VOD. We really do appreciate it. I hope you had some fun and have learnt a little bit about the Seamstress. There is much more to come on that location, and much more, story.
It is a glorious location. It's really good. Really good.
I'm glad you said you were laughing at times, Fitz, and to be honest, that brings joy to us that we can bring laughter to you at the end of this week, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Turns out we have a lot of fun doing this, and it's nice if other people are enjoying it as well.
Well, let's go. You all go to bed. Ben's got a bottle of wine to finish, probably.
To be fair, I've only got like 2/3 of a bottle.
Oh, well, there we go. In which case, sleep well, everyone. They'll see you tomorrow, and may brunch be with you.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.